of strategic healing. And now here's Jason.
Okay, hey everybody, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority, and welcome back to the show. The show is on natural health, natural healing, natural environment, everything natural, which you should be natural. And my office is, the number is 734-985-5891 if you want to schedule an appointment, call and ask questions, order some products, things like that. Right now, I am also posting this on my Facebook page live. So you can't rewind radio, but you can Facebook and YouTube. So my Facebook page is Strategic Healing, and my YouTube channel is Jason Eagle QRA, and you can watch these radio shows over and over again. If you want to, like I said, come in and see me, or even just talk on the phone about some of these ideas, because today we're really going to talk about these are the looking at this list. This is a list which is called the common health destroyers, or you could also call it the instant cure, which is you do these things and this is it for you. However, this is a lot of doing, and I look at this list and kind of go, well, duh, like, because I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing this, and so I've changed all of these things in my life, and I look at these things and kind of go, well, of course you would do this. And I take for granted that people don't know. There's a lot of people that don't know that you can make a difference. And most of this list is not even stuff that you come to see me. This is stuff that you're already doing at home, stuff that you're already doing, you just don't know that you're doing it wrong, right? And there is a right and wrong when you get into what the body is. The body should not live in a toxic soup. If the body lives in toxic soup, it would grow into a monster, or it will grow monsters. That's, if you kind of really just kind of base it down to health, what's going on, why are we sick and dying so quickly, relatively to how long we really should live, is, again, we're toxic, and we live in an environment on a day-to-day basis of what we live in, what we eat, what we breathe, all of these things, and we don't know it. Well, because, let me go over this, which is I'm already at level 4 of competence. There is what's called competence. Level 4 of there's 4 levels of competence, and competence is how well are you living your life compared towards how you should or shouldn't, okay? Because there's things that we do that we shouldn't do that we just don't know about. And like I said, I take for granted as I go over this list, which is I take for granted that there's a bunch of people that don't know this. You would think a bunch of stuff is obvious. So what this gets into in the levels of competence, take a note of this. Level 1 is what's called unconscious incompetence, meaning you're incompetent. When a person's doing a job and they're not doing it right, which is you're supposed to sweep this, but you're just spreading it around and making it worse, that's incompetent, right? Now, as I said, there's a lot of people who are unconscious. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know that they're doing it wrong. And you can't hope to really change unless you know it. So that's when we start in the level of health, or when we start in terms of what really matters for your life, how you feel today and how you're going to feel tomorrow. Like I said, most people are unconscious about it. So you go up to a next level, which is the first step. People want to fix everything. Give me the silver bullet. So if I like even this list that I'm going to give you, which is you do these things and you are the instant cure. However, many of these things are going to take a while, if not years, to chip off the list, even if you had the ability to do it today. We're talking dental, we're talking a whole bunch of stuff. We're talking about changing things in your body. You can't just do it today. So even though it may be the instant cure, that instant's going to take a couple years. But if you start on the right path, you'll get there. That's why it is. So then what you do is the next level is we get to what's called conscious incompetence, which is you're unable to perform a task, but you are aware of your inability to perform it. You're right. I'm just making it worse. I'm not cleaning up the mess. That's the first step of going, okay, so like use clean water, don't use an old dirty mop, these different types of things. Okay. Then we get up to level 3, of which is I'm consciously competent, meaning I know the wrong way, I know the right way. Now I'm going to consciously do the right way because I've determined. And people say there's no right and wrong. Well, there is, because if it's not working for you, if the car's not starting, then it's wrong, right? It's the wrong key, okay? Don't judge it, but that's the truth, okay? So conscious competence is you know that you're able to perform a task, but you must think about it to perform it. Like I said, I'm on the next level, which is what's called unconscious competence. Again, this is what the heroes, I'm not saying I'm a hero because that's what they say. They say I'm not a hero, which is I did it so much that now it's in the back room. I'm not even aware that I'm doing it. That's the ultimate in terms of being a competent behavior and action, as well as your mind and your body are one together. And unconscious competence means you are able to perform a task so well that you don't even have to think about it because it has become second nature. You perform the task easily with greatness. This is the level of a superstar. Yes, I'm a superstar. And again, it's things you didn't know about your house, things you didn't know about the way you sleep and things like that I learned about it and made those changes years ago. And now I don't have to move my bed anymore. I don't have to get rid of some toxic products because now I've been buying those. So again, once you do it, it becomes, and then now it's like, again, it comes to like when you go to the grocery store, which aisle do I go to? I avoid, there's whole sections. If I go there's whole sections I don't even go to. It's mostly the middle section, So, good rule of thumb is how you going to find the good stuff in a supermarket? Go on the perimeter. That's where all the fresh stuff is. That's where all of the, the meat, the milk, the cheese, the water, the vegetables, all of that stuff. All the middle stuff is all of your packaged food and cleaning products, which is, they're all toxic, okay? So this hopefully today is going to help you to understand if you want what you say you want. I want to be healed. I want to be whole. I want to be healthy. Well, you have to have a healed, whole, healthy environment. And we as Americans grew up in a very, very toxic environment that we take for granted. We all grew up in like the 1950s where pledge and all kinds of toxic stuff is just, well, yeah, of course you do that. And the plates that we eat off of and the mattresses that we sleep on, and the fabrics that touch our skin, all of this other stuff. Well, we've now been able to change that and really understand it, because now all of these good things that I'm going to mention are available. Before, like 20 years ago, they were really hard to get it together, but now they are all available, and I'm going to point you into the direction of that. So again, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority, and we're going to go over this list of what's called common health destroyers. You eliminate these health destroyers. Now, as I said, you could call this list two different things, which is one's the common health destroyers, the other one's the instant cure. It's the same list, but what they did is basically took the end and put it in the beginning, because in level of what really makes the most amount of sense of what's doing the most harm if it's bad, number one is teeth. But I'm going to save that to the end because that's a big deal. And I'll go through each part of that. But again, if you nail the person down and say, what should I do? Well, if you got some dirty teeth, dirty, rotten infection that's stuck inside your body. I'm going to talk about living in a dirty, infected house too, especially now that we've been locked down in our houses and people are spending more time away from possible potential of danger out there. But what are you stuck in? You are probably stuck in a way worse than you would face out there. Okay, so the first thing, which again I take for granted, a lot of people, most people I know take for granted, but most people don't know this: exposure to cigarette and cigar smoke. Tobacco, the tobacco products, even if you want to put in the vape products, a commercial tobacco, whether it be in a cigarette or whether it be in any form, is let's just take a standard commercial tobacco, meaning just the normal one that you can buy that doesn't 100% say for sure it's natural and doesn't have what's called additive free. Okay, we'll just go to a non-additive free, just the regular Joe Schmo tobacco. Oh my goodness, the amount of chemicals that are in it and the amount per cigarette of chemicals that, like, you might as well just stick your mouth on the tailpipe of a car, because it's not even the tobacco of the plant anymore. There's all of these other, they mix saltpeter in them. They make them more addictive and more toxic. And if they're going to add some flavors to them, that's even more so. So just, if you smoke, stop smoking. If you live around a smoker, stop them smoking. Okay, secondhand smoke is huge as well too. This has been well established and should be well known. Don't quit quitting. Okay, and then you can change your environment in terms of, if you've been in a smokehouse, living in a smokehouse, your drapes and your walls are smoked. Get an air filter. I'm going to get later into indoor air pollution. There's a lot of different things, but that's one of the fixes. Is it's not just about stopping smoking, but you got to clean out the environment and breathe every breath now a good breath, a cleaning breath. People have asked me, which is, I smoked for many years, and I quit 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 5 years ago. Am I doomed? Is it? No, let me tell you one thing. I learned this when I did some cadaver research, meaning I worked on human bodies. There was a number of doctors that were part of the cadaver labs at the University of Chicago Medical School. We used their labs. And one of the cadaver doctors, because one of the cadavers that we had opened up, you could tell one was a smoker. It was this man, and then there was a woman, and she was not a smoker. But when you first look at the lungs, the outward, it looks a little bit black. You can see some black stuff, and that's just normal for because our lungs grab onto soot and stuff like that. But the difference between the smoker lung, which is like it just started to fall apart, like, just like goo. Okay, but so this doctor, we asked him, he says, and this is known from many cadavers and also healthy people, which is a person who, let's say, smokes 2 packs of cigarettes, is big, a lot of smoke, a pack to 2 packs, okay, that's a lot of smoke. Cut their lungs open and you can see it. You can see what happened. Now take that person and have them completely stop smoking for 5 years, okay? Then open their lungs up and half of it is gone. He said by 10 years, no matter how many packs of smoke, if they took 10 to so really right on 10 years, the lungs have completely healed, meaning you couldn't tell the difference between a non-smoker and, if they got emphysema and this other stuff like destruction of the tissue. But the lungs are a very, very healing. They're one of the fastest, and now they take a long time too. So don't say fast, but again, because there's a lot that has to heal in the lungs. But the lungs can heal. Again, he said, the worst cases, 10 years, you can't even tell that they're ever a smoker, which means it's like, could I go back to being like virgin lungs again? Yes, you can. Just stop, okay? Number 2 is tap water. Tap water, okay? Tap water is super, so even if you get just a Brita filter, or even if you got to buy water, okay? If, there's no cleaner water than distilled water. Spring water has the minerals still in it. By reverse osmosis, you can get reverse osmosis and other water filter things. One of the best filters is one of these things that you can get on top of the counter. What's called a Berkey. They're the big stainless steel cylinder thing, and you can just take your tap water and pour it into it. But, if we've learned a lesson from Flint, Flint's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much junk in our tap water, again, that contaminates chemicals, germs, parasites, as well as drugs. So a lot of the drugs that get, poop and pee and everything in shower water all goes into the water treatment plants. And it has to remove these contaminants. Well, many of the drugs, hormones in particular, are able to go through the whole filtration process. And so you're still sending hormone stuff. That's why people in really, really big cities like LA and stuff like that, where a lot of drugs goes through that, there's higher levels of these hormonal types of health conditions. Okay, number 3 would be indoor air pollution. Your home, okay, especially like a brand new home, you'd think that that's perfect. Or let's say a brand new office. I can't tell you how many people have come in with a whole bunch of like allergic symptoms, all the way down to like they developed where their lungs were seizing up and they had to go on EpiPens. When the office building changed their office furniture or got new computer screens, Okay, when you open up a box, especially like when you're flat screen TV, you get that smell. Is that plastic smell? Is that the smell of like the styrofoam and the plastic? And open up a new bed, get some new clothes. You got a smell on it. These are chemicals, and especially formaldehyde. And formaldehyde is a known carcinogen. And so many people, the indoor air, it's not just how dirty your air is. So getting an air filtration system, there are these standalone things that you can get, but also now we fix this because sometimes, if you live in the city, I'm sorry, you better get your filter going. But like the ultimate goal is to move out to the country. The ultimate goal is if you really want clean air, you got to move where the air is. Okay, there's technology that you can do to clean the air up, and you can buy even these things at, let's say, Best Buy and stuff like that. But it's a huge thing, especially if you're dealing with cancer. Here's one of the other top things of people that have an attached garage. And let's say, like when I was a kid, our front door, we didn't come in the front door. We either came in from the back door, if you're in the backyard, which I was up playing in the backyard, or when you came home, you came in through the garage door because the garage was pretty much always open, or there's a side door or something like that. So the garage door was and when you open up the garage door where the cars are and all the chemicals and all the pesticides and you store all that stuff, you keep it away from the food. You're opening this stuff up and it's pulling this air into it. And oftentimes people leave the screen door open, and so the air's being pulled in through the garage. And so you're pulling in toxins, and most people's garage is first attached right to their food, right to their kitchen, if they have an attached garage. And the particulates of these chemicals and things like that are going right on your food and right where you sit and eat. So there's been many cases of people who are dealing with I'm in real deep trouble, Jason. What do I do? Well, back in the day, I used to go to people's homes too. And if it was really toxic. And again, like in your bathroom, like look underneath your sink and how many toxic chemicals, your kitchen sink, how many toxic chemicals. Like you don't need bleach anymore. You can go to OxyClean, which is oxygen, and all this other stuff. You can switch to all of these natural products, which work better, but they don't have the chemicals in them. Outdoor air pollution, right? If you live in a big city with heavy smog or toxic, okay, the best solution is move to a healthier environment. But if you can't do that, keep your doors closed and get an internal environment. And plants, as I was going to say before, get plants. Those a lot of, when you go to, let's say, Home Depot or something like that, they have a plant section. Ask them which ones are good, because plants are relatively cheap. And they're living, and there's something to take care of, and they suck it. They ask them which are the really good ones that are there's a whole bunch of different, really easy to grow, they're hard to kill. Just keep them watered, and you can even have pots that have self-watering mechanisms in it. And these plants, just set them by a window, and they will filter your air, and they will clean stuff out. And then what do plants do? They take in carbon dioxide, and then they put out oxygen. Nature's air purifiers. Number 5. Hair dye and permanence. People who get perms. My mom was a person. I'd come home and she'd be doing people's perms in the kitchen. She was a hairdresser and she always never gave up on doing that. But she was redhead, but she wasn't really a redhead. She would constantly. And my mom had a cancer. And a form of cancer that's related to a lot of these different chemicals. There are solutions for that. You can if you want to self-color your hair or take some hair dye to your colorist. Whole Foods has a couple different companies. One's called Light Mountain Henna. And then there's some natural colorists out there right now. I know Birmingham, Michigan has some natural colors, they don't use any of the toxic chemicals. You can get the same effect. Sometimes you have to go get it colored more often. But it's very little price to pay for not putting toxic chemicals into your body. Pesticides, insecticides, fungicides. So that's why it makes getting organic food. And I'm going to get later too when we get into a whole section on these foods I'm going to give out some websites you have no excuse right now in terms of being able to get food. Like they got it down to where you can have prepared organic food, different meals that are delivered to your house for like $6.61 per meal. That's cheap, right? But you can get even cheaper if you have, like, for instance, them deliver the ingredients, make your own food. But And now, especially with the COVID thing, which is there's still some people that are staying at home and not having people, but you can get organic anywhere right now. And it does make a difference. This is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. I'm going to take a commercial break and I'll be right back.
If we've learned anything from the recent medical crisis, it's how extremely important it is to maintain our good health. Diabetes, asthma, pain, and other underlying conditions weaken our ability to stave off viruses and heal even minor scrapes and cuts. This is why it is so vital to heal, not just treat chronic health issues. It is possible to overcome underlying health issues and return to a strong and healthy state, and it can be done naturally without the inevitable side effects of medication. But first, you must make that choice to be healthy. Your next step is to contact Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing Center at 734-985-5891. Jason will get to the heart of what is really causing your underlying health issues. Then he'll create a customized plan that will get you back to your natural, healthy self. Get on the path to better health. Call 734-985-5891 to make your appointment with Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing. Or go online to WRDT560.com/askingtheexperts and click on Strategic Healing. And tune into AM 560 WRDT every Wednesday afternoon at 1 for healthy living and fun.
All right. Okay, everybody, this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. Again, today we are talking about the common health destroyers, or if you deal with these one by one, get them all done, then you have the instant cure. Again, like I said, the instant cure it takes a while. It's a very long instant because you got to get this stuff together. And as I said, I have through my life have gone through these things and have gotten to the point where it even gets to by living in this environment. But now this environment is this way. And now the environment does all of this stuff for me. My environment gives me health. While I'm sleeping, while I'm breathing, while I'm there, it makes such sense. But again, like I said, I take for granted there's a whole bunch of people that don't know this stuff, especially the young kids. When I get into this next part, the young kids, the 20s, it's good food, it's whatever. They don't know that these things that they do every day, that they just didn't have somebody telling them. Wow, especially the bad stuff that the 20s and 30s, like the monster drinks and these other different types of energy drinks and things like that. This is worse than we could possibly imagine. And even unhealthy people from the 60s, 70s, they're nothing compared to what these kids are bringing, because it's shooting them into, for instance, early diabetes. Again, there are kids, meaning the doctors are even saying that we're seeing these things that usually show up in a 50, 60-year-old and 6-year-old, 7-year-old kids. Heart disease stuff that shows up in these kids that are playing basketball. And it's not just because they had a congenital heart effect. It's because they had so many toxins, including these monster drinks and stuff like that. So foods and drinks with natural flavors. Beware of natural flavors, because natural flavors is one of these legalized things where it's a lie. It literally, so the cute name natural flavor, okay, I put that in air quotes, which is, it often means hidden MSG, monosodium glutamate. Okay, because they can say they make it from a potato or something like that. At one point, it came from something natural. Liar, because it's so far away from that, it's been turned into Frankenstein. And monosodium glutamate is a dangerous neurotoxin that can cause brain cells to explode. Did you hear me? So the Doritos and stuff like that's what's happening to a lot of these kids. So you got a kid who's got autism, who are spectrumish, or who is on that level, meaning they haven't even been diagnosed, but they're a trouble to deal with kid. And a good thing is to kind of, what is a kind of a spectrumish kid? Not just hyperactivity, but there's a certain way that they don't learn in terms of they don't learn about sociability. They don't, they can get easily fixated on some particular type of thing. Like, early warning signs of kids is how they deal with toys. I know this sounds strange, but I've been around it a lot. You can hear a spectrumish kind of kid. And again, a good example is not all kids that are into anime, right, are spectrumish. But look, a lot of the kids that are into anime, whether it be manga or whether it be Japanese anime, and you can hear the way they talk. These are the smart kids too. They're very, very smart. They can do well in school, but they don't do well in social interactions. They tend to group together and they're stuck, and they get pigeonholed into a group. Now, this can be, described as a whole bunch of different people, but the problem is when a person gets pigeonholed into something, and again, I'm saying, if it has something to do with the food that they're eating that's messing up their brain, it's damaging them and it's covering up the true them. Meaning, there are things that we take for granted and normal, but if you can zoom 20, 30 years down the road, it has really been a shackle on them. It has limited their ability to have certain jobs. It has limited their relationships and things like that. These are things that if we knew that it came from, say, the chemicals and stuff that they were exposed to, that's the secret, is could we identify some of these things and give people, especially modern people, these kids, a better chance? Because what's going to happen is we've normalized a bunch of stuff. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with autism. I'm going to do a show on autism in terms of, I actually think much of it is a blessing in disguise. And it's a better way of, they are a canary in the coal mine in terms of teaching us how we can interact as humans better, and what is the value of people, what are the value of so don't discount, but it's certainly hard, and it's certainly hard for a bunch of kids that are not prepared for life and are prepared for a certain type of life because their brain can only perceive certain things, right? And but you can say they were born that way or were they made that way. I'm coming from the perspective of, if a child or a person is dipped in chemicals that does stuff with their brain, then that's not fair. But again, you just don't know about it. So I'm really big on these things in terms of the monster drinks, again, the synthetic type of stuff. And they can even say, so this is even worse, which is, well, I'm doing the low sugar ones. Foods with aspartame and the other different types of natural flavors or the artificial sugars. Aspartame is a known carcinogen. How do we still have this in Diet Coke? Okay, I'm calling you out, Diet Coke. It is carcinogenic. Sucralose, even these things, which is these artificial sugars made for sugars. These things do damage on the guts and on the brain, and they really create where they can mess up the neurotransmitters. They can mess your... Now, we can fix that, which you can detox, you can get these chemicals out of the brain. But see, you first got to stop knowing it. You got to stop sucking on a toxin before you can detoxify. Soft drinks, okay? If people want sparkly drinks, okay, there's a good healthy sparkly drink, which is you can go and you can get tonic water, which is tonic water has carbonation put it, but it also has quinine in it. It has a sweet flavor, and then you can add any type of flavored syrup to it that you want. You can make your own, cherry one or whatever. Even root beer, you can make your own cola stuff because you can get a cola syrup, a natural cola syrup, and make your own pops that are actually good. Or if you want to do just straight old club soda and some flavor to that. Then you get the carbonation. But people go, well, where's my caffeine? Do you really need caffeine? Drink a coffee. And again, people are really addicted to caffeine. And if you're going to drink caffeine, if you need caffeine, go to coffee. Have some coffee, but have a good, brewed coffee, and reduce the amount of sugar that you have with it. Okay? Today is, again, about these common health destroyers. And like I said, I can take each one of these things and say, number one, stop it, and then here's what you replace it with, especially if you've been addicted to it. Hybrids, which is what you get in a commercial grocery store, or anytime you go out to eat. and again, the restaurants are closed right now, so you can't go out to eat. But people have been ordering food, and there are better places to order food from. So you can fix your food. If you really want to be lazy about it and you want to say, I just want a prepared food, I want it as if like I went to a restaurant. There are foods that you can get delivered that you just stick in the microwave. And I'm going to tell you the really healthy ones, and I'm going to tell you the local ones. Now, if you're listening to me somewhere else in this country, in the world, go online and you put, just like delivered organic foods. And you'll find everything from farms that will package it to you all the way to stuff that will turn it into meals out of organic foods. And then, again, this company called sunbasket.com. You can go to Google and just put it in sunbasket.com, and these are prepared foods, and you can pick from all these different menus, and it's all organic fruits and vegetables and meats and all this other stuff. And they got it down to where you can get it for $6.61 per entree, right? So where are you going to get a dinner for that? But it's brought to your house. Refined foods, okay? Like I said, I don't go to that middle section, right? So you can have these foods delivered. It would be best for you to start learning how to cook. And so there's these different services that will give boxed foods all the way down to it's cut up or it's directions with this particular recipe and how to do it. There's another one called dorganics.grubmarket.com. Now this one will deliver organic foods, raw materials, and this is sourcing from they're all over the country, but they source locally from, so if you're in Michigan and you put because it'll ask you for your zip code, it'll find somebody. There's another one. Now, if you want to stick with Michigan, this one's called MichiganFarmToTable.com. Their website is awesome. All of these websites are great because you just scroll through and you go, okay, I want some of that, I want some of that, and you pick it, and they deliver it right to your home. And it's certified organic, and it's also locally grown, Michigan. So again, we're fixing even the financial health of your system, which is instead of sending it out all over the place, all over the world, keep it here where you live. And then there's another one called farmboxdirect.com. And it's exactly what it says. It's a farm in a box, direct from the farm. And so they can get it to you at a really good price, but really super high quality stuff because they've cut out the middlemen, which is, again, if you're doing farm stuff, that's the ultimate thing, they have grocery stores take them because people go to the grocery stores. Well, now we're starting to change that model where it's the most ideal. It's the way it should have been, which is go pick it up from the farm, right? If and these things are really valuable right now because I used to say go to the farm market, the farmer's market, but a lot of the farmer's market are not even open yet, and they're going to open and close them and open and close them. But these things, which is deliverable, is always going to be stable in terms of they can come drop it off at your front door and never even open up your door, take your payment and stuff like that. And so it's beyond contactless if that's what your desire is. But fixing, and again, when you get into meat, they have really good meats, and you can pick your meats, and you can pick where it's grown, how it's grown, and also it closes the loop in terms of shipping it all over the country, which is the other stuff that really is damaging the external environment. This is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. This is a big list. I'm trying to get this in. There was 27, and we're on number 13 right now. I've given you great. Again, if you want to go back, because what was that again? They didn't record it on the radio. Go to my Strategic Healing page, which is my Facebook page, Strategic Healing, or my YouTube channel, Jason Eagle QRA, and you can go through this list and hear it again about what was that and where to find it. The next one is toxic personal care and household products. Okay, most personal care items such as shampoos, deodorants, moisturizers, facial cleansers, cleaning agents contain chemicals which are potentially toxic. There's a lot of chemicals that are in these things, especially the fragrance stuff. They soak into your skin, and your skin is your body. Like, I didn't put it in my mouth, so it did. Yes, anything you put on your skin, it's as if you stick it in your mouth. That's why I say if you're going to use forget the moisturizer. Use regular old olive oil. People go, I'm going to be greasy. No, take a shower, Pat yourself towel dry a little bit. And even leaving a little bit of moisture on yourself is good. Then take your olive oil, pour it in your hand, or coconut oil, or shea butter, or again, you should be able to eat it. Do I want the cheap? No, get the good olive oil, an extra virgin olive oil, or a good coconut oil, and rub it on your body. And then turn around, brush your teeth, do a couple things. Next thing you know, it's completely absorbed into your skin. Your skin ate it up, literally, and it rebuilds your skin. But one of the biggest things is just eliminating. Why would you switch to that? Yes, it's healthy, but the most important thing is, if your house is on fire, right? What do you think the thing you should do or stop doing is most important? 1, pouring water on it. 2, stop throwing gasoline on it. Stop throwing gasoline on it. That's the first thing to eliminate, because even if you throw gasoline on it, no amount of water is going to work. So most people go into, I want to spend more money and I want to do this stuff in terms of adding more, which gives me the right of still doing. No, that's not fair. You have to first stop doing something that is causing damage before the thing that you have to rebuild the damage is able to work. Okay? So that's why this is so important. Cleaning your body. Even after you stop using toxic household personal care products, such as years and years of commercial toothpaste, shampoo, these skincare things, you need to cleanse the toxic agents that have accumulated in your body. So what I have found is there have been a number of women where, for instance, they started developing nodules in their breasts that were not cancerous, and they were already ruled out, so it wasn't a breast cancer, and the doctor said, we're not going to take them out, we're just going to let them sit there because they're not, and I don't want to take them out, but what do we do about this? Was coming from their underarm deodorant, or in particular their antiperspirant. Because as I said last week, is alum or aluminum, which is in antiperspirant. It makes the pores shrink, which means you don't sweat, which means the toxins that are in your lymph nodes don't come out. So your lymph nodes are supposed to excrete waste products out of your armpits. That's what's supposed to come out. But if you stop that flow, it has nowhere else to go, and it goes into the breast tissue, or it goes into the lymphs all around there. And what can happen is this can create these problems. So getting these things. So what's the thing is after I've stopped doing it, how do I get, so like I said, a good example was underarms, on the hair. Let's say a person has used a lot of these toxic chemicals on their head. What do? The mud packs. You can do specific types of mud packs that will locally pull, and it does what it says it does. Just like I've said, which is like, if you've got a sliver stuck in your skin and you can't get it out, tape a potato on it or tape an onion slice on it, and it literally will suck it out. It has this drawing property. Same thing with mud. You can go out and mix some mud, some dirt outside, and put that on. It doesn't have to be special mud. Any type of mud has this drawing properties on it, and it will suck stuff out and grab it and pull it out of your body. So so you have women, for instance, who have forget about getting the facelift, especially if you're having crow's foot around your eyes and stuff like that. Stop using because there's better makeups and stuff like that, but stop using makeup so much. I can tell how many women have told me that they are really blessed because of this lockdown, because they don't have to go to work with makeup on anymore. They can stay at home and not have to put makeup on because they're talking to people on the phone or doing Zoom meetings instead of going in, which has given them their skin a break. So that's the first thing I recommend, is give your skin a break. Do you really need the makeup? And and if you have to have makeup, then find non-toxic makeup. And there are some good non-toxic. But if you've been using it for years and years, the skin needs to heal. So there are mud packs that you can do on the skin. A lot of the Japanese do these facial mud packs, which is these, and it rejuvenates the skin, and it will help to pull toxins out, that's what's making your skin dull. That's what's making your skin saggy. That's what's, it's because the skin cells are not recovering because they are very, very damaged. Okay. Then another thing about cleansing your body. If you have people that have had, say, let me give you a good example. Okay, people that have come in and they have a lot of problems in their body that has been related to, for instance, constipation. There's a lot of people that have been constipated for a lot of their life. And as I said a couple shows back, is you can even draw a direct correlation between people's low back bones, their lumbar vertebrae just like melting and losing, like for instance, the slip discs or the ruptured discs come from the spine is literally melting. And people go, why did that melt? It must be just the gravity. Gravity must be making me like a candle melting. Their back looks like a melted candle. No, it's because those bones are made out of calcium and some form of acid dissolved your back. That's really what it is, some sort of acid. So where do these acids come from? They come right from the guts that sit right on top of your spine. So especially your low back spine, what part of guts are there? That is your bowels. That is where the toxins sit. That's the garbage dump where it's supposed to sit in, like say, like a containment. It's because it's toxic. And so there are special cells in the gut that is supposed to protect your organs from, especially your spine. But see, when people have really toxic poop that sits in there for too long, it leaches into the bloodstream and it leaches directly into what's called the interstitial fluid around that area. And so toxic colon will literally melt your back. So after a person has, so cleaning up your body also means cleaning up your guts. So there's a whole series of different types of internal cleanses you can do. They don't all have to involve enemas. They don't all have to involve colonics. But first thing is using, let's say, herbs and other things to get you so that you poop every day. Magnesium. Okay, making sure you have enough magnesium. Most bowel disturbances comes from a deficiency in magnesium. And then the other one, which is like a lot of people that are constipated when they do, this show is a really show. So I'm sorry, but I get very graphic here. Okay, people oftentimes who are constipated, and when they finally do go, they are these hard pellets. They're hard, meaning the body sucked every bit of moisture out of that. So that's dehydration. One of the most common things in high blood pressure and the blood is too thick, all kinds of things, bowel problems, adrenal problems, all kinds of liver problems, kidney problems can be directly traced to you don't drink enough water. You drink bad water and you don't drink enough water. So hydration is a huge thing in terms of address that. And we addressed it in the beginning, which is start drinking water. But cleansing your body is just as simple as how do you clean a sponge? Just pour a bunch of clean water through it and squeeze it. More water, clean water, squeeze it. More water, squeeze it. That will cleanse your body. And if we especially have had a lot of toxins that have sat in our bowels and that have leached into our organs, now that we fixed our guts and now that we're not putting toxic foods in there again, it may take people go, I started eating organic foods, 2 weeks ago. How come I don't look great? I started a year ago. How come I look? How many years of the junk did you eat that it's going to take to get that out of there? And are you on a path of not only eating good, healthy foods and making these good things, but also doing detoxes to get out and respecting, oh yeah, I swept that under the rug. That's why that rug is a huge mound there. Like it's not, it's blocking off the hallway. It's that big. That much has got stuffed in there. Okay, now the next one that we get into is medical drugs. Current research shows that taking even correctly prescribed medical drugs may shorten your lifespan. This is because many medical drugs suppress symptoms instead of eliminating the problem. That's where I can help you. I can help to look at what you're taking and find the natural remedies or the natural replacements for them. And again, any of these things are ultimately used because there was some sort of deficiency. The body broke down and needed these emergency measures of drugs, but they bioaccumulate. Drug use can commonly lead to new effects. Again, people have heard over, but this one then created these other side effects, and then I had to take this one, and then it just becomes just this huge domino effect. Okay, find out the true causes of your medical condition, then correct these, including nutritional deficiencies, so that you can discontinue medication. Check with your doctor first, but you should have a dialogue with your doctor, which is, I intend to get off of these things. And I know you say I need them, but we need to figure this out. It's an important thing. There are small cases of people that have to be on some lifetime drugs, okay? But don't be lazy in your thinking that that's for everybody, and it's rare. And even those I challenge because those people, they're not even doing anything about nutrition. They're not even doing anything about their genetics. They're not doing anything about their energy. They're not doing anything about their environment. So you can't say that all of these people I challenge that. My goal here is to challenge all this. I want everyone to be natural because that is our nature. We need to get back to our nature. Then we get into recreational drugs. Using these so-called recreational drugs such as marijuana, cocaine, speed, even caffeine, okay? Or now even put the recreational drugs as I call like a Monster drink or a Red Bull. That's a recreational drug. Now we even get into the CBD things here in Michigan. It's all legal. Do you know how much CBD has been shown to be toxic fentanyl that comes from China? Again, these gummies and stuff, this cheap stuff that you'll buy or even they found many of the ones that were doing the vapes, that were the CBD vapes. They are toxic. They have really dangerous drugs in them that are not regulated, and you're taking your life in your hands. These drugs can have a profoundly negative effect on your health. Again, even people who are doing hallucinogens or have long time use of hallucinogens, and people said, he's stuck with flashbacks. You can fix these things. You can detoxify, you can repair the brain. But the first thing is you need to stop this. If you're addicted to any drug, do not try to overcome the addiction by yourself. You can need to seek help from a qualified professional. Again, this is basic. This is stuff that I kind of go, doesn't everybody know this? Well, no, everybody doesn't know this. Because I can't tell you, too, how many people have come through and they've spent a lot of money on supplements and stuff like that, but they're still secretly taking their drugs. They're still secretly drinking, and they didn't tell me about it, right? And it's like, well, I thought I can. No, you can't. You can't get away from that. Now, there's a time and a place for everything, but we're talking about lifestyle type of stuff that is, you just have to be honest about it. And if you're honest about it, you just have to take it for what the body says. The flesh and blood has its limitations, and it also has its ideal internal and external environmental conditions, and you can't cheat with that. And if you want to be honest, and you want what it has to give you, you can't expect the horse to run across that thing with no food or water. It has it's got to stop sometime. Here's another one. This is where number 18, and a lot of people know nothing about this. A lot of people that know everything about all this other stuff, they don't know anything about this, which is exposure to electromagnetic pollution. What's that? Okay, this electrified, Wi-Fi'd, this invisible energy fields that are going through our body all the time. Regular exposure to harmful electromagnetic devices such as TVs, phones, cell phones, your tablets, pagers, watches, earphones, car engines, especially these Bluetooth earphones, man, you're better off to having the corded ones, because what these things do to your electromagnetic frequencies, all of these things, car engines, sitting next to a car, you have no idea what these coils are doing to your field. Okay, especially modern cars now that are Wi-Fi'd and are GPS'd and all this other stuff. You're sitting in a microwave. Okay, now there are things that we can do for that, but most people don't know about that. And I can teach you and I can show you what, and you can test it. This is all not like, well, I guess that's true. No, you can test through the QRA testing and find out that your brand new car, your new Tesla that you sat in, is now damaging your kidneys and damaging your hormones. Or let's say you're this rich guy that wants to sit in this car and be all cool to the ladies, but yet it's directly shorting out your testicles, directly shorting out your prostate, which is the production of testosterone and progesterone. It's doing the opposite. It's totally robbing you of this, and you think it's cool, right? Especially sitting in a Tesla vehicle, because if you saw what these huge battery fields do and what they do to the body, Tesla would roll in his grave, because Tesla for sure would be like, that's the wrong energy field. You're killing people, slowly killing people. And worse than that, you're messing up their hormones and you're messing up their brain waves. Yeah, they get 0 to 60 at this, but at what cost? I am challenging this. We need to know about these things. There are so many things that we can do. Again, one is the other thing, which is wrong bed orientation. What? It just fits in my room and I sleep in my bed, okay? Restful sleep at night is essential for your good health. I've done a show on this, which is how much sleeping can fix everything. But if you place your bed so that your head is facing east, so that when you're lying down, the top of your head points towards the east. That's the most ideal one for most people. The next one would be south, right? But the worst one would be north and then west, right? But north in particular, right? To allow your body to achieve maximum healing and repair during sleep, alignment with the Earth's electromagnetics. Again, does the Earth make a field? What does a compass do? Like I said, you can, out in the, wilderness without any electricity and no magnets, you take a glass of water and then you float a pin. Basically, you can rub a pin on a magnet or like a needle, or you can rub it on some silk, and that magnetizes it, and then gently drop it on the surface of the water, and it will float through the surface tension, and it will point north, because the Earth's magnetic field, this North Pole pulls through everything. And even though it's weak, it goes through everything. And so while you're laying there with your head facing north, it's sucking energy out of you because it's pulling your magnetic field. And so what that means is, as I said before, one time I lived in a house where I couldn't move the bed. So what I did is I just slept backward on the bed. When I made the bed in the mornings, it looked like the pillows were up against the wall. But when I slept backwards on the bed, I put the pillow the other way. It slept fine. I didn't know the difference but I slept much, much better. I woke up try it. Try getting a compass out, finding out where east is, and sleep east. If you got to sleep, backwards on their bed or orientate your bed. Now, the second thing is that harmful EMF field. So let's say your bed is set up so you're already facing east or south, but yet your head is right next to the wall. Inside the wall is these electromagnetic frequencies. There's wires that are inside the wall, let alone if you sleep with your head close to, like, what's behind your headboard. Oftentimes it's an outlet. So what a person should do is, if your head is at that wall, especially close to an outlet, you should move the bed, instead of right up against the wall, at least a foot. Move it a foot away from the wall. So now your head is outside of these electromagnetic fields. So sometimes it's not even enough to just sleep correctly, but you do those two things, and I guarantee people will feel better. They'll wake up more rested, and they won't feel so confused and all this other stuff. It makes a big difference. We're coming in the home stretch right here, number 20, which is lack of regular exercise. You can change this today, especially with this beautiful sun out there. People are afraid, I'm going out without my sunglasses on or my sunscreen. Good. Well, they scared me of skin cancer. Okay, fine, put it on for the rest of the day, but get at least 20 minutes a day where you don't have the sunglasses on and you don't have any, and you got as much skin exposure. That's the ideal. That would be the ideal. And then people go, well, it's cold, it's winter. Then, sit in front of or be in front of the window, even if you have to a little bit. People are trying to get their health back. This stuff makes a huge difference. Now, the home stretch, like I said, this is the rest of all of 21 through 27 are all about teeth, which, as I said, the one list that was the instant cure, these were the first ones to do. If you want to be honest about it, if you got bad teeth, wow. You have no idea how much this dental infection buried is what it's doing to your health. So, number one, decaying teeth. Old tooth decay, whether it is painful or not, can cause chronic symptoms in other parts of the body. Repair decaying teeth as soon as possible. Go to a dentist, a Dr. Gettioli here in Michigan, a Dr. Sue Shoha, she's really good. Eric Taylor, Dr. Eric Taylor. There is Dr. Rousseau. The list goes on of good dentists that do good materials, and they use the right materials. So again, and these are all metal free. So if you have metal, get the silver fillings out of your teeth. Okay? But before the silver, if you got some dead teeth. So first of all, number one, decaying teeth, repair those. Number two, dead teeth. A dead tooth slowly releases putrid byproducts, which can cause chronic fatigue and other debilitating symptoms like heart conditions. I've had people who were having heart palpitations and had to be on heart medication that it was a tooth. Got rid of the tooth, boom, it was gone. Rarely do you know when a tooth is dead. You can do what's called a thermal conductivity test, which is called the dry ice test, to check for dead teeth. Okay, a dentist will check, but a lot of times the dentist will not find it even that way. That's why sometimes you have to have a really good x-ray, which is called the cone beam scan, which is, it looks up higher, deep into inside the bone, that's a lot of what's happening. This is dead teeth and bone, and it's leaching these toxic materials. Silver fillings, metal fillings, any metal of the mouth, you want to get it out because it has all metals, including the gold. I got a gold one that has mercury in it too. And mercury is the most toxic known material in a human body. Toxic dental work, okay? Again, the gold alloys, some of the old porcelains, stainless steel, palladium, titanium implants, these things, they're bad. Replace these things in terms of getting the metal out of the body. Even the composite tooth materials, which is that old plastic stuff, there's a better material now. It's what's called Admira Fusion Flow. It's a flowable ceramic. And that's awesome because it bonds to the tooth, because the metal fillings for sure do not bond to the tooth, and they create cracks, and then decay can get up underneath there. So an old filling that's 20, 30 years old, you don't want to know what it looks like under there. It's so putrid, it's so gross. And then the white material too, that can break away, and most of the time it creates cracks. The same thing as you'll find putrid stuff. This new material, good dentists use this, what's called Admira Fusion Flow. It's a ceramic. What it does is it welds to the tooth structure so you don't get cracks. And it has the same exact hardness and color of the tooth itself. And it flexes and it bends because it's this nano ceramic. It's a space-age material that is the best of the best, which is it's close to your original tooth material as possible. Number 26 is old root canals. Okay, I can't tell. Just recently, I've been dealing with a patient a client who, for instance, had just had so many, and she's been seeing people for 30 years, and finally it was tracked down to, oh my goodness, it was these old root canals. These old root canals that we've taken out, and she's gotten them replaced with the ceramic implants, which is no metal, all ceramic implants. And it's just a night and day difference. Even just having those things removed, what her health has changed in just a month afterwards. So dramatic. The same thing happened to me. Once I had these bad teeth taken out, it was overnight that my gallbladder problems finally went away. Then here's the number, last one. Sorry, Grandma, sorry, Grandpa, but toxic dentures. Most common denture materials are toxic. Plastic bases, the colorings. You can get, if you have to have dentures, and ultimately dentures should be replaced with implants, but it's very expensive and that's a long haul. So many times you got to have something to chew with, so you got to have dentures, okay? But see, the toxic materials are these bad plastics, and so there is a number of good denture materials where it's these biocompatible materials that do not create these chemical storms inside your body. And that's the big thing. He says, I did this to fix my bite, I did this to fix my health, but now every chew, I'm chewing also toxins in my body. And no amount of health things that you're doing can fix these things. And it makes you waste your energy. So a lot of times before you even do a lot of big stuff, start chipping away at these things, and a lot of it has to do with just your actual environment. And as I said in the beginning, these are things that after these many years of living like this, I go, well, yeah, I take, but I forgot, my journey has been a long time. And I learned these things, and it took years and years to get these right. But if you start, the longest journey starts with one step. And as I said, I've listed, even if you had questions, if you're an older person, what's the first step to deal with? Is that internal environment and also the external environment, meaning it's the water you drink every day, the air you breathe every day, the teeth you chew on every day, where you sleep every night. You spend more of your time sleeping in your bed than in your wake time. So making sure you get your sleeping right in your bed right. You can get these things, and a lot of these things can be done in a day. You can get this fixed in a day. And then now forever you'll sleep the right way. And now forever, it may take a weekend to clean up your garage, right? Or clean up underneath your sink, right? Or say, you know what, let's throw these products out. People go, I'll use them all up first. No, don't. Many like the toxic body products and the old, drugs and stuff like that, clean that stuff out, just throw it away, get rid of it, and buy fresh and buy natural. So this is Jason Eagle, your natural health authority. Today was a blast. Until next time, wait to talk to you, and bye-bye.
You've been listening to Ask the Experts with Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing. Jason will help you live a pain-free, high-energy, healthier life naturally. As a certified practitioner in multiple healing modalities, Jason creates a finely tuned and highly personalized program just for you that will get you back to living your best life. Get started today by calling 734-985-5891 to make your appointment, or go online to strategichealing.us. Strategic Healing is located at 2545 North Opdyke Road, Suite 106A in Auburn Hills. Ask the Experts with Jason Eagle of Strategic Healing can be heard every Wednesday at 1 p.m. right here on WRDT, the Word Station. The materials and information provided in this broadcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended for use as diagnosis, prevention, or treatment of a health or other problem, or as a substitute for consulting a licensed medical professional. Some concepts presented herein may be theoretical and have little or no scientific substantiation. Users are advised